Hello guys, and welcome back. So in the last video we created the game, we also joined the game, then now we are in the game screen. Okay, so now in the game screen we only have data for versus the computer, because that's what we have in our game screen. There is nowhere where we are checking if we are playing versus the user. Okay, everything here is versus the computer, this dummy data, and then this dummy data for stockfish, where this is stockfish data, and then this is user data. So now we need to check, if we get into the game screen, if we are playing versus computer versus stockfish, and display the correct board and information. Okay, so that's what we need to do in this video. Let's go on ahead and start doing that. So here I can see that Flutter is updated. This method is deprecated, so we will fix this later on. Right now it's still working. Let's continue working with that, and then we'll get back to this. Okay, all right, so let's see what we must do here. Okay, so when the screen start, this game screen, let's scroll up. Here there's this method which says let the other player play first. Okay, so we can use this because this is running on init state. Okay, so we can use inside here to check what if he is playing versus computer or versus human, and then update the board accordingly. Okay, so inside here, so before we check this if statement here, down here, we need to check if he's playing versus a computer. Okay, so let's have that check. If what's that, game provider dot versus computer. Okay, so if he's playing versus computer, that's when we are going to do all of these that we are doing here. Okay, so let's just check where that is ending. It's here. Let's cut this and then put it here. So if he's playing versus computer, that's when we want to do all these. In the else, here now is playing versus a person, another person. That's when we need to listen for Firestore changes. Okay, so here let's listen for game changes in Firestore, like this. Okay, so because everything that we are checking here, if we are playing versus a computer, all these that we are changing, even on the board, let's go to the board here, game provider is flipped, everything here, game provider state, we are checking in our game provider, which is locally for now because we are playing versus a computer. But if we are playing versus a person, we can't get this data local. First we need to get the data from Firestore to check if we are white or if we are black or if it's our move, and then we update the board accordingly. Okay, that's why on the start of the screen here, let's go back up. In this method we check first if it's there's computer. If it's not there's computer, we're going to start listening for those changes and then updating our board. Okay, so let's create that method inside our game provider. So let's go back to the game provider screen. So for now we can minimize these two because we don't need them. We'll bring them up when it's time for testing. Right now we need to create that method for listening for changes. Okay, so let's minimize them, and then let's see where can we create that method. Maybe let's put it down after this set game settings. So this one ends here, and then down here let's create our method listen for game changes in Firestore. Okay, so let's create that method. Let's create it as a future method, which is a future void. We won't return anything, so we'll say listen for game changes. We can name it like that, and then of course let's take some required values here. So first let's get the build context, which will be our context, and then let's get the user model, which will be user model. I think that's all we need here, so let's continue. So this one will be also asynchronous. Then next here we need to get the collection of what we are going to be listening to. Okay, so let's go ahead and get that collection. So collection reference, maybe let's name it as a game collection reference. This will be equal to Firebase Firestore dot collection constants dot running games, and then it goes inside the document, which is the game ID. That's the reason why we've put the game ID up there on top, because once we get to the game screen, we have already saved our game ID in our local storage. Okay, either you are joining the game or you are creating the game, you have the game IDs already saved. Okay, because you are getting it from the game that you are joining, or you are getting it for the game that you are creating. So we have game ID dot collection, and then the collection is going to be constants dot game. Okay, so this will be the collection reference for the game. If we go to Firestore, you know that it's inside running games, game ID, and then game. So this is the collection that we are looking for. That is the collection reference that we've just made here. Okay, so next after this, now we want to listen to this game collection. Okay, so we are going to say game collection dot snapshot dot listen. Okay, we are doing the same like what we're doing. So let's close this out, and then also you know that if we are listening to this, we need to subscribe to this, so that later on we can unsubscribe if the game is finished. So let's create a subscription here, stream subscription. So let's name this as game stream subscription. So game stream subscription. Let's also put this as nullable, and then this collection we want to subscribe to it. Okay, so we're going to say game stream subscription. Okay, so that later on if the game is over, we can unsubscribe. Then let's come down here. So down here now we need to check. First of all, we need to make sure if this game is even there. Okay, So let's make sure the game is there. So let's do if event dot docs dot is not empty. That's when we do the following. Okay, so if this document is not empty, if maybe the creator hasn't deleted the game or something, that's when we'll continue. Okay, so let's get the game. So we're doing the same thing as before. So we're going to say final document snapshot. Then we are getting this game, which is the event dot docs dot first. Okay, so while we're doing this, later on we may want to put more games in this collection, because if you are like you have rematched, okay, we are going to have let's minimize. We are going to have another game. Yes, another game. Okay, so let's continue. So we're going to get that game, and then now that we have gotten this game, we have to check now this game that we have gotten, are we the creator, so that we can decide to give us the white pieces or what. Okay, so now we are checking if we are white, means we are a creator. So okay, let's say check if we are white. This means we are the game creator. Okay, so we're going to say if game at the field called constants dot game creator UID. So if this UID is equals to user model dot UID, which if it equals to our ID, then we know that we are the game creator. Okay, so after we check that we are the game creator, we need to check if it's our turn to play. Okay, so first of all, before we go further, let's do the if statement. If the game is not empty, if we are not white. Okay, so this, if we are not the game creator, in the else we will do something. Okay, not the game creator. So there is an else statement to this. Then this one we can even leave it, because if the game is empty, we don't want to do anything. Okay, so down here, after we check that we are the game creator, we will check if it's our turn now. Okay, check. So check if is white's turn. Okay, let's say white's turn. Okay, so here we would say if game dot constants is white's turn. That's when we will know that it's our turn. So this is white's turn will be changing depending on who has played the move. If you go to the Firestore, there is what we are saving here is white's turn. If the game is starting, it's true, because white has to play the first move. If black plays, this will be changed to false. Okay, so here we need to create a variable on top that we need to set. So let's make a boolean is white 10. Let's initialize it to true, and then let's also get a getter bool get is white 10. This will return our is white 10. Okay, so this one we are putting it here because it's the one that we are going to be referencing in the application after we get the data from Firestore. Okay, so here now there is white 10. We are going to set it to true. Okay, depending on what we are getting from Firestore here. Okay, on the game data. Okay, now we will check. Okay, if is white 10 is true, then the next thing that we will check is inside here, inside. Okay, so the next thing that we will check here is the opponent's move if it's empty. Okay, so when we get here, if in our database it says white 10 is true, we know that it's either black has played this move or it's a first move that we have to play. No one has played the move. Okay, so here we can check that if white's 10 is true, then black's current move will always be, it's either going to be empty or it's going to have the current white the previous move that black has played. Okay, I mean the current move which black has just played. Okay, that's the only way this is going to be true. It's either it's empty, it's a first, that's when the game is starting, or black has played and has turned it from false to true. Okay, so that's the logic here. If we are here, so if we are here, if it's true, let's check, did black play his move or he still hasn't played his move? So let's add a comment here just to explain this. Check if black's current move is not empty, meaning black has played the move, or is also not equal to the odd move. Okay, so if black's move is not empty, it should also not equal to the last move that he played, meaning he hasn't played the move. Okay, so here this means black has played his move. Okay, so if black's current move is not empty and not equal to the previous move, then he has played this move. Okay, so now this means it's our turn to play. Okay, so let's say meaning, so this means it's our turn to play. Okay, so we do this so that we do not run this constantly to check if this is true. We just play the move. Okay, so now here let's have that check. Okay, so if game at the field called constant dot black's current move does not equal to, so we need to check if it does not equal to empty or the last move was played. So let's create some constants up here, here where we created this. So let's create a string. Let's call this black's move, which will be equal to empty at first. Okay, Let's create another one for white. String white's move, it will also be equal to empty. So whenever black plays a move, we're going to update this black's move to that move. Okay, so because at first it starts at empty, so we are just going to check that black's move in the database if it is not equal to black's move that we have up here, which means it's either, if it is empty, this at first is also empty, which means this is the first move. Okay, black hasn't played anymore. If this is not empty and then there is a move here in our database, and then there is also a previous move here on this one, we check if these are not the same, which means this is the new move. Okay, if they are the same, this is the same move that he has played before, so which is not valid, which means we can't run this. So this will only run it if the move that is in the Firestore is not equal to the last one that we updated here. That's when we will run this code. Okay, so that's when now here we can update the UI, update white's UI, which means now black, if this move is not equal to the last one he played, black has played, so we are going to play black's move from our side as white and then update our chessboard. Okay, so here what we can do is to make a string move. Okay, so if we make a string move, it's going to work, but I've tested it, it's giving some problems. So here we can just say, for example, what we were doing here, we can say boo. Let's go back just to the game screen. What we are doing is on Stockfish here. So after it checks here, we are making this. Okay, make a string move, this one. After it's completed, and then we are setting the square. When completed, set the square. So we can make this string because we are saving the move as a string. Okay, so let's go back here. So boo, we can say result. This result is going to be equal to make string move, and then the move is going to be this move that black has played. Okay, like that. And then we can just continue to do the same. If result, if result, we set the squares, we can do set squares. So it sets square state dot when completed. We can do now the rest of the things here. So let's close it out. So here dot when completed, now we do the same. So this is black, we are checking black's move. Okay, so black has played. Now we need to pause black's timer and start white's timer, the same thing that we are doing. So we're just gonna say pause black's timer. After we pause black's timer, and then we start black's start white's timer, like that. And then on new game, it's a function, we know all of these, we just close it out. Okay, so after this is done, the result part, after this we know that we also run the game over listener. We check the game over, what did we name it? Game over listener. We check if it's game over, and then that's a function, and then that's it. So after we do all of these, down here, just here down at the end here, we notify the changes here. Okay, and then that's it. So this is on white side. If the game creator UID, is equals to our ID. We check if it's our turn, and then if it's our turn, we check if black has played the move. Okay, so if black has played the move, we're going to get that move and make the move from our side on the board that we are seeing as white. Then after that, we are going to set everything as required, and then everything will run as before, and then we just notify the changes. Okay, so I hope I wasn't very fast, but we're going to come back to this method here because I just want to show you guys how it's working if we make a string move, which is the simpler way to do it, but we have issues with it. It doesn't work very fine, but I just want to show you guys first, and then we'll do what we're supposed to do. We'll change this to what the solution that I've come up with. Okay, so next we're going to work now on black's side. Okay, so on the else, this is just the opposite of this, but there's no need to check because we already checked we're not creator. Here we're just gonna set the is white's turn to false. First of all, this is not white's turn. And then next we're also going to check if white has played the move, and also if it's not the same as his last move. Okay, so check if white played his move. So of course we're just gonna check if game at the field got constants dot white's, is it white's current move, white's move. So we do the same checks, and then we just gonna do the same again. Here we say bool result will be equals to make a string move, and then we're going to make that white's move, the one that he has just played. So then we check the result. If this move is valid, we do the following. We're going to set the squares dot when completed, stop white's timer, and then so pause white's timer, and then start black's timer. Okay, all of this is just the same. So let's close this, and then after here we also have the game over listener. Game over listener. All right, and then just after, let's see here, here we need to notify the changes. Okay, so that this change is taking effect. So now we are listening for the game changes and then setting these values to use later on in our game screen. Okay, so I hope I wasn't very fast here, but in any case we are going to come back here because we need to change this move string to the move method. Okay, so now let's call this method inside our game screen. Where did we say we're gonna call it? Here, listen for game changes. So we need to say game provider dot listen for game changes, and then close it out there. So here let's call our final user model is going to be context dot read we want to read authentication provider dot user model, that one, and then here we just need to add a now check, and then that's it. So let's end this video right now, even though we haven't tested anything. Let's bring up our emulator. Now we need to stop these and come out of these screens. So let's, in the next video, okay, let's just stop these. Okay, so next we have to run that those applications again and see if we can read data here. So maybe let's see if we can print something here. Actually, let's just end this video right now. We don't want to be making too many long videos. Thank you guys, and see you in the next video.